Right, let's get to our next guest now. I'm delighted to welcome James Matthewson back to the show. He's a former Labour Party spokesman. Good afternoon to you, James.
Afternoon, Julia.
Thank
How
you
are you
very
doing?
much. Well, I'm very sorry. You were almost basically pipped to the post by Nigel Farage, but not in the case. So we're very glad you were standing by. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Not a problem.
Let's just talk. We just briefly just want to talk to you about, again, there is the biggest political news of the week, isn't it? Ahead of certainly this leaders' debate tonight, but we'll get on to that. Nigel Farage coming back in. This would certainly have worried the Tories, no question at all. This is the last thing that Sunak would have wanted to hear in terms of the splitting of the centre-right vote. What would Labour Central Office have made, headquarters have made of this? What would Keir Starmer be making of this?
I think initially they'll be pleased about the effect that it'll have on the Tory vote, but I don't think they should be complacent about it because Nigel Farage isn't somebody who will keep his targets just on the Tories, of course, and he will be a stronger voice in the campaign from the right to talk about issues that Labour don't want to talk about. And almost everything that the Labour Party doesn't benefit from talking about publicly, Nigel Farage does. So him standing on his platform and talking about immigration and talking about various socially conservative issues are things that often the Labour Party doesn't want to go into ground on because a lot of the time it's not convenient for them to do so because of this coalition the Labour Party is trying to hold together, North and South, socially conservative and socially liberal, kind of urban countryside, all of these these complex coalitions the Labour Party needs to get to the ballot box. Nigel Farage benefits from the division of those coalitions.
Yeah.
So I think even just having him publicly talking about things like that will cause problems for Labour.
Yeah, and we have those splits in all the major parties. They're more focused on whoever's the governing party. Of course, it may well be that in 30 days' time, that is the governing party we are focusing on in Labour, and we see those splits play out. And I want to talk more about that in just a couple of moments. But just on the migration issue, we had the announcement of the Tory policy. I mean, we haven't had the manifestos. What our Reform Party is saying. Yvette Cooper for Labour, the Shadow Home Secretary, she has criticised the Tory policy, their idea of a cap on work and family visas. She says this is a meaningless announcement. The Tory party has trebled net migration since the last election, despite promising to bring it down. All they're doing now is rehashing failed announcements from David Cameron and Theresa May. Their plan, she says, to bring down net migration will link immigration system with new mandatory training and workforce plans for British workers and stop rogue employers hiring from abroad. Oh, sounds all well and good, but I mean, how is that actually going to be achieved? Because you're only going to stop British businesses from hiring those people if they can actually replace them with British people. And that means probably upping the minimum wage and cutting people's benefits.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and Labour need to be so clear on this because, of course, their entire strategy around the immigration issue is to be like, look, we've got a strong position, we've got that position, let's move on from it and let's not talk about it too much because it's not one of Labour's priorities. It will never be one of Labour's priorities, but it is an issue that they need to tackle, and they now acknowledge that they need to tackle. Now, the party some years ago, I mean, even just a couple of years ago, didn't want to talk about it at all and didn't even go into bat on any kind of position. So it is progress from that point of view and from that respect. But I do think they don't need to get too bogged down in the detail. And Keir Starmer, really, I mean, it's quite clever actually at the moment. He doesn't need to produce figures. He just doesn't. He doesn't need to be able to say,
well,
I've
I mean,
got
that's the thing.
figures.
The view was judging as they get closer to the possibility of power, people would expect the Labour Party to produce figures. There's now going to be a little bit more interrogation of these rather vague announcements, as
But
there
when
should be of all
you're,
parties. But we've got a TV debate, the first TV debate head-to-head between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer. I
yeah.
don't know whether... I know a lot when it comes to the bigger debates with other party leaders, with nearly always one of them. I think Keir Starmer's opted out of one of them already. But we're looking at ITV tonight, and I don't want to be bringing up anything other station ever, because I think you should be listening to Kevin O'Sullivan, by the way. But it's going to obviously be the first time we're seeing these two men head to head for a period of time, not just PMQs for a few minutes with a baying mob behind them. Do you think that there is anything that Rishi Sunak can do? I mean, all Keir Starmer has to do is not fall over. He's in terms of the poll. But that's the reality. But is there anything Rishi Sunak can do
Yeah.
that could change anything in the polls?
No, no, I
You
don't
think it's
think so.
done?
And it just baffles me that he's there. I mean, like, if you or I had that kind of money, Julia, like, Would you be there? Would you be doing that? I just think it's absolute madness. The man could be in California having the time of his life, doing a little bit of surfing or whatever
It's
it is that
probably
he
what
likes
he
to
is going to be doing
in
come
his spare
mid of
time.
July.
It will be, but why go through this torturous ordeal in the meantime? It always fascinates me that power is the one thing that
Is
even no matter how much money you have, power is the thing that people are
Isn't it
addicted to.
fascinating? I'm totally with you on this. You get these incredibly rich people who just can have a great life. They can be on their super yacht and see anyone they need to do. They can
Yeah,
get the best table in a restaurant, do anything they want to do, but they want to be involved in politics.
exactly. Yeah, they want to have that
Fame
connection
and
to
power are
power.
the
Yeah.
two big drugs that seem to attract these people. Well, look, let's talk about what power will mean in terms of this latest poll which we had from YouGov for Sky News. It's an MRP projection, which is a very complicated and very huge poll. It involves 50,000 people. I mean, a huge number of people. And this gives a very detailed projection for the House of Commons, and it is eye-wateringly good for Labour and eye-wateringly bad for the Tories. Labour on 422 seats, they reckon, come the 5th of July. That's up 222 seats. Most of those, pretty much all of those, taken from the Tories, who are going to be down, they say, 232 seats to just 140. That'd be their worst performance in more than a century. Lib Dems doing well. They're going to gain 40 seats, up to 48. SNP trounced. Obviously, again, a lot of Labour votes going from the SNP to Labour. 31 seats down to 17. But they are looking at the Greens going from 1 to 2 seats. But crucially, the Reform Party not even getting one. But that was before Nigel Farage said he was going to stand. But that is a whopping big majority. Do you think that the polls can be trusted and that is the sort of result that Labour will see on election day?
I'd love it too, Julia. But I mean, I am, kind of when you've been in the Labour Party for a long time, it's kind of like when you've supported Newcastle United in the football, like I have for so long. You're not used to winning, so when it comes around like this, you're not used to it, and it makes you skeptical, and it makes you nervous, and it makes you scared. And there's all sorts of emotions hanging around the Labour Party in the moment that people are thinking, well, is it correct? Can it be correct? Can we trust in it? And there is still this attitude, this kind of Alistair Campbell-esque attitude going on from the top of the Labour Party, trying to disseminate it through the ranks of, you need to stay focused. We can't take this for granted because anything could slip up.
Well, yeah.
Anything. I mean,
But everyone
tonight
remembers
in that,
92, don't they? Neil Kinnock and that sort of almost like a victory rally where you went, we're all right. And lots of people felt, A, it was kind of un-prime ministerial of him, but also it's like, don't take our votes for granted was kind of how
no,
it was
exactly,
interpreted.
yeah.
And of course, we saw that shock victory
And even
for John
tonight, I
Major.
mean, even tonight, you could have a situation where, something happens in that debate. I mean, it is up, at the end of the day, like you say, Keir Starmer just needs to make sure he doesn't fall over. He could fall over. Anything could happen. When it's live TV and it's that kind of pressure and tension and all the rest of it. But hopefully what we see is that the polls don't shift in any kind of particular direction, because that's what Labour will be hoping, is that after tonight, the polls stay as they are. And if that's the case, and if Rishi Sunak can't appeal to the people in whatever way he wants to and trounce Keir Starmer for being the son of a toolmaker, and however many times the word toolmaker said tonight, we'll see. But
he's son of a toolmaker who just happened to run the factory where he made tools in. I mean, it's such a nonsense. This whole sort of faux claiming of working class backgrounds by politicians is embarrassing. It really is. Just to mention, Diane Abbott, the NEC, National Executive Committee of the Labour Party, they're going to approve all candidates today. Diane Abbott has made it clear, you might not want me to stand, but I'm standing. Does this show weakness on behalf of Keir Starmer, though?
No, I'm pleased he's backed down. I tell you who it shows.
But he backed down.
Well, he did, but you've got to at times, and I'll tell you why he's got to on this occasion is because of Angela Rayner. And it's shown Angie knows exactly how to wield this power that she's got now, because she came out at the start of this and said, I think Diane Abbott should be allowed to stand. And she's doing it in this fantastic way of like, I'm just going to say what I think and it's going to happen. It's extremely calculated. She knows what she's doing, and she's ensuring through that there is diversity in the Labour ranks. Because, look, I'm excited about the prospect of a Labour government, I really am. But the Labour Party needs its consciousness, and that kind of conscious heart, its moral compass, all the rest of it. Like or loathe Diane Abbott, she's somebody who will say what she thinks. And that keeps people in power in check. So they're very important characters to have as we move forward into a Labour government, especially if the majority is going to be like the one we're seeing predicted. Okay.
Just finally, a bit of a upset over nuclear policy. I know that Keir Starmer launching his nuclear policy yesterday, or nuclear weapon policy, doubling down on the triple lock commitment to Trident, to nuclear deterrent of the UK. Only hours later, his own deputy, Angela Rayner, is saying, "Oh, I want to rid the world of nuclear weapons." How embarrassing a split is that?
I don't think so. I think it's the duality that needs to be
The duality.
encapsulated
Oh,
by the party. There
this
needs to be
is
a
just like
duality.
the yin and yang, and so it's okay for
Yeah.
the leader and the deputy leader to say completely different things,
No, but I don't think they are completely
aren't
different things.
they?
If you look no, I think what's
Or is
being
it
said
just a
here is,
nonsense for anyone to say, "I want to rid the world of nuclear weapons"? I mean, yeah, I want to rid
well,
the world
we
of
all
wasps,
should.
but
Do we not?
it's not going to
Do
happen.
we not all want to rid the world of nuclear
No, I
weapons? However,
don't. No, I just want to make sure that the goodies got nuclear weapons because the baddies will definitely have them.
all the goodies and the baddies, the good old goodie, the
Yeah.
black hats, the
Yeah,
white hats. But at
Western
the end of the day,
democracies being the goodies and the
understand.
totalitarian murders,
Listen,
dictators and terrorists being the baddies. Those of us
yeah.
who are of my persuasion, we don't find it difficult to distinguish between the two.
No, but there is a duality that needs to be encompassed because a lot of people in the world see nuclear weapons, they're scared of them, rightly so, and
Should be
terrified
scared
by
of
the
them. That's
prospect
why they
of our
work as a
enemies
deterrent.
using them. Exactly. But that's why there is a commitment to the deterrent, a commitment from Keir Starmer. And this is why those two positions work well together, the deputy and the leader, because one of them can say, oh yeah, morally, in an ideal world, in an idealistic world, we wouldn't have any, would we? We would have a lovely, peaceful world where everyone, skips through the meadows together and we're all friends. However, Keir Starmer can then say, look, we are committed to this
Okay.
deterrent, and we're going to be, we're going to be big boys when we're in charge, and we're going to be sensible about it.
Okay, great to hear from you. James Matthewson, thank you so much for joining us. He's a former Labour Party spokesman.